Welcome back to our series of Python graphical user interface application development. In this series of videos, we go through how to develop a Python GUI application from scratch to finish. And in this series, we use a sample application that I developed called Template in order to understand how to design, code, and deploy an application using Python. So if you didn't watch the last video, this is the application we go through, and this is called Template, where we enter a body of text and you can input your own variables that you can change every time you want to personalize or tailor the letter to a different recipient. So in this video, we're going to go through design, how to design your application. So this is really fun because we get to play around with the appearance, fix things like buttons, pop down menus, text inputs, titles, whatever it may be. So in order to do this, we need to use a software called Qt Designer. So now Qt itself is this huge, powerful software that many people use in order to create their applications. But the only issue is Qt is a huge software. So when you download it, you're going to have to install quite a few things that you'll find yourself most likely not using. So it takes up a lot of memory and it uses a lot of power. So it's quite costly to download and use. There's really only one thing we need from Qt, and that is called Qt Designer. So Qt Designer, so I'm going to come here and I'll put these links in the description. So Qt Designer, this is what's used to really fix the appearance of your application. And these guys let you download Qt Designer alone, and it's only 40 megabytes. So you don't have to download all the other extra stuff. So this is perfect because this is what we need, and this is the only thing we really need. So I want you to come here, download for Windows if you're using Windows, download for Mac if you're using Mac, and you can have a read through the site if you'd like. But once you've downloaded it, I've already downloaded it, so I'm just going to open it here. It's going to look like this. So Qt Designer, open it. Let me close this. Okay, so let me close this guy too. Okay, so this is what you'll end up with. So this is really what pops up as soon as you open the application. So let's see what we got here. We have this pop-up window that says new form. It's asking you what do you want to create. So they give you a couple of templates. They give you a dialog with buttons. They give you some buttons on the right, buttons on the bottom. Basically just some templates that you can work with. But if you want to work with an empty slate, you select main window and then press create. And this is what you get. Okay, so let's move this here. Okay, so this here, this is your main window. This is where you add things such as titles, buttons, whatever it may be. This software is basically like the Photoshop equivalent for user interface appearance development. Okay, so whatever's on here will appear in your application. So right now we really have nothing. So nothing will appear on our application. If we were to just save this and deploy this is what would appear. So actually, let me show you what appears. You just press Command R or Control R if you're on Windows, and this is really the window that would appear on someone else's computer. So basically an empty window. Okay, cool. So let's look at what we have here. We have on the left a widget box. Widgets are really just the tools or the items that you can place in your application. So you have things such as buttons, layouts, item views, item widgets. So you can put tables, lists, and then you have containers, input widgets. So when you want the user to input something such as their name or a username, password, you're going to put in a line edit. And then if you want them to type a paragraph, for example. So for example, in template, we used a plain text edit. So these are the different things you have, calendars, whatever it may be. So let me give you an example. So let's say we just want to put a title. Let's look here. So we have, where's display widgets? Okay, so display widgets. So label would be the title. So just put label there. So now we have this here, and I want you to notice something here. So here we now have label. So let me actually delete this. So this thing on the right is our object inspector. This lets you know everything you have in your application right now. So what are the objects that you have? So right now we have a main window. That's this guy right here. And then you have a central widget, a menu bar. The menu bar is this guy right here. And then a status bar. Okay, so this is really what comes with the default main window. And when you add something such as the label, you want to add a title, it becomes included in your object inspector, so you know you have it there. So if you want to change the title to, let's just say my first application. Okay, so that's our title right there. Okay, and we know this has been included because if we press Command R or Control R, look at that, it's over there. Okay, so my first application, you have it there in the object inspector. So object inspector tells you all the widgets, all the objects that you have included in your interface so far. And then on the bottom right, you have a property editor. Now this is what you access to change things about your widget, to change features, color, fonts, size, whatever it may be about your object that you have included. So let's say, for example, here we have things such as size, the geometry, okay, the font. Let's change the font because that's pretty simple. Okay, so if you just go under font and you have family here, so let's go. Let's change the font to Arial. Okay, so now the font's been changed. Let's say we want to change the font size. Let's say we want to make it 50. Bam. Okay, it's really big now. Okay, so in summary, you have your widget box. This is what you want to access to put things onto your interface. Then you have your object inspector. This just gives you a list of all the things you have on your window. And then you have your property editor. This allows you to edit the features of what you have on your window. So widgets, name of your widgets, features of your widgets. Okay, again, so you have your widgets, you have access in your names of the widgets that you've included, and then you have the property editor, which edits the properties of your widgets. When you save your file, you're gonna get a UI file. So let's say we save. Okay, I'm just gonna save this to desktop. Okay, so my first app. Okay, now let's see that. Let's get rid of all these guys. Okay, you get a UI file. Now, what does this UI file look like? Let's open this in Sublime Text. So if you don't have Sublime Text, it's a great IDE, Integrated Development Editor, that you should definitely download. So, but you can really use any IDE, but let me close this. Sublime Text is the one I use. So we open this Sublime Text and this is what we get. So this is an XML file that includes all the properties of your application. So from the main window, geometry, size, properties, everything that describes the appearance. So when you save a file from Qt Designer, this is what you get. It's going to be on us to convert this file into a Python file, and that's very simple. And I'll show you how to do that in a bit. So that's the UI file. Now I want to show you the file that I have for template. So let me open this. So here's my template UI file, and initially I had called it cover letter generator because I thought that was going to be the sole purpose of this application, a cover letter generator, but it ended up being an application that's able to be used in an array of practical applications. So let's open the template file, the template UI file. Open this, and this is what we get. Okay, actually let me quit Qt Designer. Okay, so quit Qt Designer. So I quitted Qt Designer and I'm going to open my template file. So I opened the template UI file and this is what we get. You see, so this is basically all the changes we've made to that empty window. Before we had an empty window, and now these are all the changes I have. So it's actually not showing the other object inspector. If something's not showing for you, just go to view and you can press property editor, object inspector, whatever you want. Okay, here you can see all the different objects we have here. So we have labels, we have the status label, we have so the status label is basically a status that comes here and that tells you, hey, your letter's been generated, it's been saved or whatever. And then you have the buttons. So let's say, what button would this be? Edit template letters. So that's the edit template button. The generate button is this guy. The save template letter is the update button. Okay, so there's a bunch of different things going on here. This is your letter input, right? Okay, so this is what it looks like, and this is what we're going to end up designing.